Like I said, we can keep this till.
Sir, how are you?
Really? That's good. It's easy. Yes.
That's good news, but you're changing something, I think.
We had gotten some the other day too, we said, wasn't something that came up. Something else for them, yeah. We should know. For us.
I have no idea.
Welcome and thank you.
No, you're good.
Conferencecall.com. Communicate
No, he's saying we're good. I
Please
don't
enter your
know. There's a
access
chair
code
there.
followed by the pound or sign. If you are the host, press star now. Otherwise, please wait, and you will be joined into the conference. Please announce yourself.
It's actually warm today. It was 55 today.
Hello. You're live.
Hello.
It's the source here, it's the
Just to Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. Oh,
Is it not strong enough in this room?
yes.
You-
It's just, but, Wi-Fi, oh, I mean, it should be taping. If you want, someone wants to pull it up on their phone, just to double check, I don't have my phone. Go into YouTube and see if we're live. If we get it up on their phone.
Hey, Brian's here.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, guys. Hey, Brian. Hey, Dan.
I don't wanna start until I know we're operating.
I'm trying to bring it up online, but the Wi-Fi's not picking up.
I'm showing that I have Wi-Fi, but.
You guys are live.
Oh, we are?
Thank
Okay,
you.
great, thank you.
Yep.
7 now, right? Past
Yes,
7?
it is.
Okay. All right, well, welcome to the February 8th Pawling Joint Sewer Commission. If you could please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, hopefully everyone had a chance to read the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for January?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. And can I get a motion to approve the January treasurer's report as presented?
I'll make a motion for the January report.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And can I get approval for the January 2024 vouchers as presented and prepaid vouchers?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion to transfer $51,793 from O&M account to checking account to pay the January 2024 vouchers and prepaid vouchers. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so I know we discussed this at the last sewer meeting, but we agreed to send a letter out to Pawling Commons just to make sure with their new building and in sometime in the future, another building, we wanted to make sure that their sewer lines, existing sewer lines can handle it and to ward off any issues that might arise. So we're asking them to camera them or at least inspect them. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, were they expecting this? They were, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
All right. And reference 7.24 is a request for lead agency for the planning board, and this is for the Jehovah Witnesses that's on 22 to provide couple apartments, I believe. So anybody have any questions with the planning board taking lead agency on this? Any questions?
You're gonna add apartments to the
I think-
place over
I
there?
think
One
that's-
apartment.
I was at the planning board meeting where they fleshed this out a little more fully, and yeah, the proposal is to amend their approvals to allow people who serve the church exclusively to also stay there on
Okay.
occasion.
Is that building on the sewer line also there? How much of that part of 22, does it go, how far? Does it come down to the intersection right there, the sewer line?
You know, I'm not positive.
Yeah, I mean, Dan may frankly know better than me on that, but
Dan? Are you-
I couldn't hear
Yeah,
that.
Dan's on. The Jehovah's Witness facility on Route 22, do you recall if they're on our sewer?
I think they are.
I'm not
I
sure.
do not know.
I don't
know.
I don't send a bill to them, so.
Where is it?
It's at 568. They don't, I don't send a bill to them, so.
Yeah, I don't think that church is.
No,
it's not-
that part of
I'm not
22.
really even sure when.
It's just south of Pine,
Well, maybe, because
No.
is it that big apartment building? What,
Kings.
Yeah, the King's
The
Apartments
Kings is,
on.
but this is further up.
so they never like.
I don't think they extended up 22 at all.
So much just crossed there, probably not.
I'm not
It goes,
positive.
yeah, it's, no, we don't have sewer there.
Okay, all right, yeah, you would know with the bills.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any questions regarding village planning board taking lead agency on that?
Not at all.
No.
So can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion for reference 7-24 for lead agency regarding project name KHJW 568 Route 22.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So this is a quote for some rotor lobes. Rich, do you mind if I ask you to speak to this?
It's rotors for our low pumps down at the wastewater plant. The pump don't go bad. You can replace the parts in the pump, and this is one of them.
Okay.
And it pushes water back to the head of the plant. They are very important to have in stock and replace as we go.
Okay. So, I'm also gonna add to it, Brian, you're on the call, correct?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so it's my understanding that we're going through these a little more frequently than we anticipated. So I'm going to ask, Brian, if you can maybe take a look at that and see if we can figure out why we're going through them so quickly? If there's something that.
Okay, and that's, yeah, it's just hard to hear a little bit, Lori. It's the lobes on the rotary lobe pumps, is that what I heard?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So if we can try to figure out why we're going through them more frequently than anticipated, we can look into that.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
Okay.
There should be.
Larry, this is Dan. Brian and I have set up a call for tomorrow to talk about general maintenance,
Okay,
and that was on our list.
okay,
Great.
great. All right, but in the meantime, we need these, they're important. So does anybody have any
Yes,
questions regarding this?
absolutely need these.
Okay,
How many of these are there at the?
Yeah, that quote has a spare set on that quote as well. There's one to be installed, one to be a spare.
Gotcha.
as I think you guys know that since I became chair, I've been trying to get things on the shelf so that we're not in an emergency situation and we don't have it there and then we have to pay extra money to get something quickly or paying a higher price. So if we're gonna place the order, I just as soon order 2 of each of them so that we have the one to replace that's needed right now and then we have the other one in stock.
Mhm. Are these the original ones that are getting replaced now for the first time?
No.
Probably not.
Probably
no.
not, definitely
Okay.
not, no.
Is this a pump with a installed spare, or is it just a single pump?
Rich?
It's a duplex. There's 2
It's a
pumps.
duplex, okay. All right.
Okay. Any other questions?
No?
Just one for me, one last one, I promise for now. Can we get a PDF set of the as-built of the wastewater plant?
Yeah, we put the.
Yes, I've confirmed it. It was digitized. It's a scan of the red line of the as-built, and I'm having a link sent, I believe, to both you and me. I'm not sure when we're going to get it, but I confirmed this morning we have it, and you'll get it.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Is this one of those parts that we spoke about that only has like a 12-month warranty when they come? You just, remember we went over that list of repairs? Everything basically has like a 1-year shelf.
Use life?
Yeah, and then you really can't plan for it, really?
Yeah.
Unless you do this and plan for it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not sure. All right. Any other questions?
No?
Can I get a motion to approve this quote so we can purchase these?
I'll make a motion for
I'll second that.
8.4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so I know with the budget process and with our negotiations that we've been having and trying to form a new IMA, it was discussed about our finances and the feeling that we don't have as good a handle or the budget's not as tight or with our finances. So it was discussed that we go to our financial advisor and ask for a proposal to do a complete diagnostics of our finances so that we can, so they can advise us on where we might be able to do a little bit better. Making sure we have the accounts set up the way we need to have them. At this point, I know we're interested in knowing the fund balance, but until RBT gives us the rest of 2023, the remainder of 2023 information, we can't even figure that out. But that's why I was a little late in getting this agenda put together. I was chasing Municipal Solutions for this proposal because I wanted to keep things moving, and this came in after hours last night, so we just put it together. So I'm going to suggest, so in here it is saying that they would charge $165 an hour, and they're proposing that it would not, it should be approximately 35 hours to do everything. So what I was thinking of proposing is that we cap it at 35 so that we're not an endless flow of expense.
Structure as not to exceed.
Yes, and in order to keep things moving and to get this started, I was going to ask for a motion if we feel this is, that we're comfortable with this, to approve my signature pending the attorney's review to make sure that everything's fine with it, so.
And how quickly would they be able to get involved? They think they can start right away?
I think they can start pretty soon, but it's pending us getting it executed.
Okay.
So that's why I just as soon, rather than waiting to approve my signature a whole nother month, I just as soon if we can
Approve up to 35
approve my
hours.
signature up to, cap it at 35 if we're comfortable with that,
Mhm.
and approve my signature pending attorney's review.
And you, this all seems great. Do you think, did they think they would be able to get us a report by like next month's meeting, possibly, or not?
I don't.
Maybe, I don't know.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice, but
Yeah.
I don't know that that's possible.
Possible.
Well,
Also
depends on when we get things back from RBT. That's the other problem. That's the problem
Okay.
we've been having with RBT, that they are very slow in getting us the information. As you know, the most
Yeah.
recent information we have is September.
Sure.
And so we can't even close out our books
Sure.
for 2023, or even attempt to do that, because we don't have all the information that we need.
Right.
Sure.
To request them to give it what they have now, it's $1,000 for a report. And it's not gonna be complete, so we may as
You
well
know what
wait.
it is because they haven't finished it, brought it over to you yet.
And it makes it hard for the budget process,
Sure.
you know? We have to put the draft budget together in October, and,
Yeah.
you know, so it just makes everything difficult. So one of the other things that I asked Municipal Solutions is if they know other accounting firms that we could possibly get proposals from, to see if there's somebody that maybe can do a little bit better job of it,
Mhm. Certainly.
so.
No, I like the idea of having Municipal Solutions take a look at it.
Where are they out of? Are they
I wanna say like Rochester? Yeah.
They're south of Canandaigua, New York.
Canandaigua, okay.
And,
You know,
yeah, and they,
I saw it on the,
they
I'm
were-
trying to pronounce it.
I thought you were being careful.
I'm like, I can't pronounce that.
they, yeah, they were a sub to Chazen doing the finances through the construction of the wastewater treatment plant. So they have some significant legs with respect to familiarity with the village and the wastewater.
Okay. So where's everybody's comfort level on this?
I'm okay with approving up to 35 hours and see what they can get us in 35 hours of service, for sure.
All right.
It's a fair rate, definitely per hour for financial people.
Yeah, for sure.
And if they can start digging into stuff and get some answers to
Yeah.
the commission, it'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe them being another professional service, they'll be able to really put some pressure on RBT to get that paperwork.
That
over.
would be nice.
Yeah.
Just seeing their name.
Right.
Right. I do know, and I'm not sticking up for RBT by any means, but, you know, at the end of the year, as you know, James, it's so tough to,
Yeah.
you still have bills coming in.
Certainly.
You still have expenses
Yeah.
going out, you have to wait.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a few months, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Can't just,
Hey, I'd be even in support of having our attorney send a letter to RBT to tell them we need your stuff pretty quickly, if we thought it would help. If you know, if they're taking, because all the time they're taking is costing us time to make decisions here, right? We're working on this IMA.
yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, though, there's still vendor bills coming in, so they
Yeah.
can't do it complete until they
Yeah.
get all the vendor bills in.
Sure. You would think, RBT would at least be able to get us into, at least through November,
You would think.
right? If they were on top of their stuff.
And they probably could,
perfectly-
but it would be another $1,000, but we still have to do it again
Well,
to get
yeah,
December,
but, you know,
so.
They should know, they should be giving us a plan more, and they're getting paid by this commission, so.
And Municipal Solutions is also, part of their package, if I understood it correctly, is also giving us a game plan
Yeah.
for our new you know, for whoever we go with for financing.
Moving forward and everything.
Yeah, scope,
How, you know-
budget consulting, sure,
Right.
that's great.
Right, so,
So I think that's a great move. I'm fully in favor of it.
okay. So, do we wanna make a motion capping it at the 35 hours, and a motion to approve my signature pending attorney?
You want that all in one motion, or do you want to?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Doesn't
set
matter?
forth as sort of one
Okay.
thing, right? The hourly rate and the 35 hours. What you could add to that, though, again, is the not to exceed.
Okay.
But I think it can be done in one motion.
So I'll make a motion to approve Chairwoman Taylor to sign to $165 per hour for not to exceed 35 hours of service from Municipal Solution, so that they can start working on the finances for the PJSC.
Pending attorney review.
Pending attorney review.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so current project updates. I'm gonna throw this to James and to the engineers, Castagna, anything?
Dan, have you spoke to Castagna at all this last month, or no?
I have not, but I know they've been in contact and have received most of the water meters, Christine might be able to tell us whether they have them all. So they're moving forward with installing meters, and my anticipation is, they're looking to be in operation May, June timeframe.
For the first building?
I think 4 are ready to go. There's 2 that are lagging a little bit.
Okay. We haven't had any contact on our end as far as the completion date since last month, but we can reach out to them and get back before the March or for the March meeting to find out. This is even with our building inspector when they're thinking about being ready. I don't have an update since last month as to what they've completed since then. The wintertime maybe slows down a little bit as well, even though it's been good weather. But we'll make sure we follow up for the March meeting to get a progress on them. And ASPCA, we really haven't done anything because it just looks like it's dirt work right now, so we haven't, I don't know if there's anything in the ground yet. I don't even know, Dan, did they ever give a projection of when they thought that building would be up? I know they started later than they anticipated.
Yeah, they had some changes in contracts and things, but the last I heard from their engineer was they expect sewerage to be under construction in the late spring. Also, if I may jump into my part of this report, James, you and Dan P., when he was chairman, I talked about the possibility of using force accounts to build an odor control system for the Castagna pump station. So we gotta dust that off and talk about it pretty soon, because the deal that we cut with ASPCA was Pawling joint will need an odor control system on that pump station when sewer district number 4 comes in, and also when the buildings for the Castagna process come in, because they will be step, meaning anaerobic waste will be coming into that pump station. We don't want to create a bubble of odor at the entrance on Castagna Road, but we need to sweeten it by aerating it and pushing that air into a subsurface wood chip biofilter, similar to the two that we have at the wastewater treatment plant. So if that still is something that the commission feels is something that can be done on a force account basis, we need to get DOT on board, because that biofilter, in fact, the entire pump station and that biofilter are on public right-of-way. We don't need an occupancy permit, but we need to share with them what our intent is. So if the current makeup of the commission wishes to proceed that way, we should dust it off and, as a separate item, talk about the things that have to be done to get that done.
The Castagna project is required to do a bus stop down there also, Dan, before these buildings open.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we got to talk to and DOT will be involved in that too. So we're going to have to, Chairwoman Taylor just said we have to talk about the placement of this. What do you call this device? Biofilter, because I know one of the requirements in their planning approval was a DOT bus stop, right?
A bus shelter.
Bus shelter.
Right.
Down there at the end of that road. Because I don't think it can go further on our property, because it's not the road is not it's a privately owned road, so it has to go at the end.
Is it located on a plan where that bus shelter would be?
That I don't know. It was just part of a resolution from the planning board. There was a couple of requirements that they were going to have to meet before they start moving people into those buildings, and one of them is definitely a shelter, like at the end.
Yeah, we should look at a plan and figure out how these things are going to fit. I don't believe the location where I'm proposing the biofilter to be would be a suitable location for a bus shelter. It is behind the guide rail that DOT owns.
I mean, definitely not
I'm-
people to sit at the bus shelter, that's for sure.
Well, you don't want the snowplows throwing snow on the kids either, so, I don't know. It all depends on where they plan to put it, but, we gotta coordinate.
Okay. All right. You all right, James?
Yes, that's all,
Okay.
thank you.
Dan, since you said you were jumping into your engineer's report, we'll hold off on the attorney's report. We'll skip to you to finish off.
We in Lavella have met with Cedarwood and are moving along with the transition. We've also met with Chairman Taylor and Deputy Mayor Lacazio to talk about all of the things that Lavella currently does and what is being transitioned to Cedarwood. And those talks and discussions are going well, where we seem to be knitting a good path forward for both the village and Pawling Joint Sewer Commission. And as I indicated earlier, Brian and I will be discussing maintenance at the wastewater treatment plant tomorrow, just as an example of that integration. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Dan. Any questions for Dan?
Yeah, thanks, Dan.
I just wanted to ask him, when did he say that Castagna was gonna have the first work done? What month? You gave him a month, I missed it.
May to June.
May to June? Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Joe?
So obviously, we'll take a look at the municipal solutions contract with the points that were made in tonight's motion. As you mentioned, it came in late last night, but we'll look at that right away. And the only other thing that I would report on would typically be the IMA discussions, which are largely suspended at the moment as certain information is passed back and forth between the town and the village.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right. Rich or Justin, any?
Well, we had about,
I don't really have anything to say. Besides, appreciate the ordering of the loads.
Go ahead, Rich.
Okay. We had a little over 14 inches of rain last month. We roughly had 5 to 6 days where we had to operate the plant on split shifts, nursing it through the high flows. That was basically the only problems we had last month. Just the high flows, the I&I, for roughly about 4 days. About 5 to 6 days.
So I do want to thank you once again. A way to save money is that we've talked with H2O to split their shifts so that it wasn't considered overtime for when we have to manually operate the plant. So that has saved us quite a bit, so thank you for that. I do know with our I&I, we are working with Trinity Pawling to figure out a plan for addressing the I&I there. And we did put out the RFQ, whatever it is, that for the repair of the cracked pipe on Reservoir to get that repaired so we don't have I&I from that, so.
And we're opening those bids are being opened soon?
March, it's a Monday, first Monday.
I think it was early March, yeah.
And there's quite a few people have actually called about it, so. Right. I know it's a pretty deep excavation that has to happen, so it's gotta be a company that has shoring and all that equipment for that, so.
Traffic control is a big issue
Yeah,
there,
that's
too.
true too. It's not the easiest place to work, and trying to work with school
I
traffic.
think we were trying to maybe hold off till.
Hold off till break, maybe, yeah. So. Anything else, Rich, or is that?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Rich?
No, thanks, Rich.
Okay. All right.
Rich, oh, I'm sorry, I had one question. Rich, what was the high number with the I&I? What was the highest inflow we had?
998,630. That was on the 9th.
Thank you.
Wow.
That is a lot of water.
Yep.
Yeah.
It just put it in perspective, the base flow plant is between 200 and 300,000 gallons a day.
So basically triple
Yeah,
rainwater.
and that just shows you how much I issues we have that we have to address.
Correct. Thanks, Dan.
All right, thank you. Does any of
You're
the
welcome.
commissioners have anything else that needs to be brought up?
I did have a couple of points I'd like to bring up, if I may. We have been in discussions with the principal meetings. Last night, I had the opportunity to view your meeting, the town board meeting, and I was a little concerned to hear some of the things that were being talked about. One of which, you did correct Jimbo on a comment where we were unwilling to lower our salaries. That was inaccurate.
Correct.
We actually said we'll cut our salaries in half.
Right.
Except for the commissioner.
Right, we made sure we made
You
that
did
correct on the
correct him,
record,
but
yeah.
it took a little while for you to do that, and he never apologized for misleading that statement. When we go into contract negotiations, it's my belief that those are confidential, and I don't mean confidential, I mean confidential between the principals and the other board members. To come out publicly and start speaking about things that we're negotiating about, it just kind of hurt my feelings, to be honest with you. It kind of set us back. I thought we were on the right path. I thought we were moving forward. I think the impression that was given is that there's a lot of animosity on this board and that we don't get along and that we always have issues where it's the village voting against the town. And that's not the case. We've always voted, as far as I can recall, every vote we've taken has been unanimous. We've always agreed on different things. One of the points I think maybe the mayor can probably express it better than I can is the financial liability of the plant. So, do you want to talk about that as far as?
I can make it clear is that the sewer plant is a village-owned wastewater treatment plant, and the property that it's on is village property. And it is the village's bond rate that was used to take out a $15.9 million bond to build the plant, the new plant. And it is the village taxpayers that are on the hook for that bond should we trip and stumble with the payments back. It is the town is in the IMA as a contract, and they're responsible for raising the funds for the town users, which is District 1, which is Westmont and Prospect, and there, District 2, which is Cedar Valley, which never would have been able to be built if it didn't get allowed into the sewer plant, Castagna, and ASPCA is going to be a contract when they hook in, and then if District 4 comes to fruition. So I think just having that clarity there, that it is the village that is fiscally responsible. So that's why when the IMA was formed, it was formed in the way that it was, with the makeup of what it is, that the village board being elected officials, because we are setting the budget and we are making fiscal decisions. So I guess that clarifies things.
It does. I mean, the main thing is that if the commission falters, the town has no liability. The users for the town have no liability to pay that back. It's on the village taxpayers.
Right.
It's on the village residents.
Right.
The other thing I thought that was misleading last night was that we've been talking about getting the financials. The last time we spoke 3 weeks ago, was my suggestion that you reach out to Christine directly to get our financials. They're given to us when she receives them. She has all the past years. You indicated you wanted to go through RBT.
Well, we went to RBT because we thought that would speed up the process. It wasn't because of anything with Christine Brown. That's why we said that we reached out to RBT for those
But then
years.
at
That's
your
what we said
meeting-
on the record.
But at your meeting last night, it was, at least how I understood it, it was implied that Christine hadn't responded to your email request,
From
but the
3 weeks
request
ago.
didn't come into us, it went to RBT, not to Christine.
Correct, I think that's what was said though at the meeting.
The way it
that's
came
not-
across was that
We
basically
definitely said
we
we
were
were
trying
working
to
with
snowball and not
RBT.
get these,
Well, that
just-
wasn't meant to be that
So just to
way.
be clear, when Christine receives the RBT reports, they are immediately then distributed to the commissioners. So you know, we are more than happy to provide them to you again, but the town, whoever the commissioners are,
Certainly.
have been receiving them all along. So if it will speed up and you want Christine to provide all of that for you,
Well, that's why we thought going directly to RBT, which is where our original request
and
went.
had,
It
and
didn't
had that
go-
work.
Personally, I think.
You haven't gotten the bill yet.
But this, I think RBT, by the way, if any commissioner here reaches out for it,
Yeah.
RBT should
Respond.
respond.
And did they?
And, well, no, it got kicked over to you guys, but that's the point that we made, though. It wasn't at Christine at all. And the reason when you go to Christine in the first place, is because RBT was doing the accounting. So as a commissioner, right, anyone here, including myself, should be able to go to them and say, hey, we're looking for this. It shouldn't have to get kicked back to you. It should come.
But they do get sent out to the commission as she receives them. So you have all of the, if they're received in a quarterly fashion, the quarterly reports go out the very next day. And any year-end summaries or any of that do get distributed to the commissions.
Yeah.
And just, if I can just say, the last group that went out was a group, because that's how I got them.
Because
It was 3 months.
they were
all at one-
backed up.
all at-
Yeah.
They're still backed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. She just asked me for information for October.
Oh my gosh.
Questions.
So hence, that's why we're looking at seeing what other firm we can use.
And hopefully Municipal Solutions will give us good guidance on that, so. Anyway, Jake, I'm looking forward to getting back to the table and working.
Yeah, and listen, I think, the important thing, I understand the village's involvement in this and why the IMA was the way it was 40 years ago. The IMA is 40 years old. But, from a town's perspective, the next 40 years, I believe the town is gonna outgrow the village, right? They're not making any more land. We're looking to go down 22, potentially up 22. And if you were to plan for an IMA for the next 40 years, it wouldn't be the same way the current IMA is, because 40 years ago, the village was where the sewer was, and there was no plan of growing on Route 22 in other ways. So when
Well,
myself and the town, and we pushed for a larger presence on this board and to make this more of a neutral board, not a town board or not a village board, is because I think all of us know in the next 40 years, I would fully expect the town's sewer flows to greatly outpace the village in the next 40 years.
May I speak to that? I do want to be careful that, again, as you mentioned, Jerry, the discussions themselves, I think, are contractual discussions between the principals. But I do want to mention that there have been discussions and a willingness on the part of the village to discuss changes in the makeup of the board that would be based on the potential change over time. But those are ongoing discussions. I don't think the town, initially, their response to our proposal was not favorable, but it's something that's been discussed. And I think will continue to be discussed if we get back to the table. So it was not ignored in any way. The idea of a prospective agreement that could take into account the possibility of future flow levels is something that has been discussed by the group openly with the village as well. Also, for what it's worth, now the numbers still, even with these anticipated developments that we discussed tonight and some of the future development in the town, still would favor the significant flow, what's the word, a greater flow from the village than from the town. So I don't want there to be a perception, as you said, Jerry, notwithstanding what you guys may have meant as being part of the negotiations, at the meeting last night, there seemed to be an intimation that there was an unwillingness to discuss those things, and it's not true, and I think we're still willing to continue in good faith with those discussions.
And the IMA itself, I mean, it is 40 years old. We all agree it's antiquated. There have been amendment after amendment added to it through the years. Most recently, last summer, the town board felt they weren't properly represented. We opened up the IMA, we put another board member on for the town with an alternate, so you can always have two people at the table. So as things progress down the road from now, I'm sure that would also be, discussed as the flow increases and the town grows. But anyway, I just want to get back to the table and get this moving. We need a new IMA. We need the new rate structure. There was a lot of hours put into that. And, you know, just like to see us get moving on it. That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
I'd just like to say I watched it also, and I just feel like I'm getting the feeling, I'm new, I'm not a politician, you know, and I came here to help people, and it feels to me like it's town versus village. And I'm here, I live in Pawling, I would never hurt the town in any way. You know, I would never vote, if it's good for the community, that's the way I'm voting. I'm not here to, you know, I just feel like I'm a resident here, I'm not gonna hurt the town. I don't understand town versus village.
Yeah, but
It
you
doesn't make
gotta
sense.
understand, this isn't even for our board and your board, this is boards for the future years to come.
Oh, I understand
And while we
that.
sit here and we say,
I get that.
we're happy to review it at a later date when these flows change, there's no way to make sure that happens 10 years from now, when none of us are probably sitting in these seats. We don't know what kind of, because static could be built out, and 22 could be built out, and there could be stuff all over the place, and the flows could tip immediately, but if that's not built into this IMA, the boards, the sewer commission, the way it's set up in 10 or 12 years, at that point in time, could say, no, we're not, you know, how do you build it in to say, when these things, when it gets beyond, when it hits 50% or 49, 51, how are you gonna build into the point where you say, at that point in time, in this IMA, whatever boards are in place, absolutely have to sit down and open up the books again. Otherwise, the town would be at a point where they have 2 or maybe 3 votes, and the village would have 5, and they would say, well, we don't care what Lori Taylor and James Schmidt negotiated 15 years ago.
I get that.
Right.
When we're sitting here, I
We can
just,
put those
I'm not gonna
stats.
hurt my neighbors, I just wouldn't, I just don't
You
understand.
could do it on a
Yeah,
5-year
I do
basis,
think,
or-
just to address that specific point, that kind of language can definitely be written. You know, so that going forward, it's not just a matter of saying, we'll agree to agree later. You can write pretty specific language that discusses the formula for how the makeup of the board would be. That I think both parties would be comfortable with if the principals can agree on what that should
So
be.
I think we just gotta get back to our
Okay.
working group principles, however, which way we
Sure.
wanna do it, but I think that if we get back to it and start
Yeah.
rolling up the sleeves and figuring out how do you have that language that's gonna satisfy everyone, so.
And then just one more thing I'd like to add, I would really prefer, I think we would all probably like to have some information from Municipal Solutions before we agree on a
Right,
rate
so-
structure and stuff, to know where we are, right? Where we're sitting, where we're ending the
So
year
that's
out.
what I was gonna say, is that was my takeaway, I think, from our last meeting, was that we wanted to kinda sit tight until Municipal Solutions had a chance to go through the books and figure out where we really are standing,
Mhm.
and then we get back to the table. But
Excellent.
is that what you take away from that too?
Yeah.
I wanna make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need it, right?
Okay.
It'd be
All
hard
right.
to
So
have,
we
we
know
have numbers,
that
we don't have them, right?
We're just gonna move this along and try to get information as soon as we can, and then we can get back to the table and have the further discussions.
Yeah, and again, when I say rate structure, I'm not referring to increases. As you know, it's been explained to us 100 times how we charge the residents.
It's still really hard to understand how the rate
It's
structure.
No, nobody gets it.
Yeah.
So the new formula, it breaks it down, it's much easier and it's fair.
Which is another reason why we were looking for 2 to 3 years
Yeah.
of previous data to put side by side and look at.
Sure.
And then make a justification for the rate increases, rather than going by even 1 year. If you could put together 3 years in a row and look at them, then you could really make a good projection on going forward what things are.
Okay.
I think
Great.
we're all on that same page. So
Excellent.
if nothing else, can I get a motion to adjourn and go into public comment?
I'll make that motion.
1 second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any public comment?
Yeah, Jerry, just to clarify what I stated is that I was saying that I had the issue with the number of members. I didn't mention the salaries. I agree 100% with you.
No,
You did mention about reducing the
Right.
salaries for the commissioners. What I was stating publicly last night was, I don't agree with 7 members, it should only be 5. And that's what I said, 2, 2, and 1.
It's,
Yeah, I don't want to split hairs. I'm not saying, it was the way either Councilman Marty had indicated the salary, and then you maybe topped off with the number of people. It's just the way it kind of came out. I can tell you right now, if you watch it, you'll see what I'm referring to.
I did.
And I'm glad James did
All right,
correct it,
but
because it took us
it's
out.
for us to discuss in our working group or principals meeting, so I'm gonna leave it at that at this point.
One other question I would ask is that the commission consider public comment be added to the minutes.
That we can consider, yeah. I don't have an issue with that. It's just been our practice to not. I
Understand?
don't have an issue with doing it, so, I mean, if we already adjourned, so.
We
Yeah, no, it's just something for you to think
So-
about.
If we could put it on for
We'll put it on
discussion.
the agenda for next time and we'll resolve that.
Thank you.
I'm Harvey Matkovsky. I would assume that a few of you remember me from December, and I appreciate being able to speak here and not being an elected official currently. I would think my impartiality. I kind of agree on the tenure of the remarks that were made, that there was a us versus them. However, I don't think people who are involved in it, the people in Cedar Valley whose bills are going up, and the rest of the village really care about this intramural fight. They just want to get it done. And what I gather is, and what's causing it is there's nothing that's going to force it to move forward, if it's going to be an us versus them. I personally disagree with the supposed privileged nature and the confidentiality of the discussions and where they are. Might I make a very simple suggestion? Lori, you gentlemen here, contact our town supervisor and make a presentation and come before the town. You see, the opinion that I get from speaking to people is they have no idea until this double-digit increase in rates. Approximately, well, in many cases it is.
We haven't increased in years.
Okay, the increase in rates and the changes in the way people were ignoring, didn't know how this joint sewage commission worked. There was a tremendous ignorance of it, and so if you guys have a problem with just hearing it from the two town board members, I suggest that you come before the town board and do a presentation, explain how we're going to move forward to try to cut costs and change this IMA that's been around for a long, long time. Nothing has been done. The other thing I noticed is when I was here in December, I saw that Mr. DeRosa also, in his last meeting, made some suggestions. But nobody knows what's going on. There's nothing that's going to force, maybe it's a bad word, but help you guys to move forward. And there are going to be disagreements, of course. But I take notice that at $5,500 a year, that there's an absence of members on the commission. School board, you missed 2 meetings, you are subject to dismissal from school board that are unexcused. You guys are getting paid approximately $500 to show up. In December, there were at least 2 members, and they think they were village board members that were not there. That's simply a fact. I was here. Don't tell me I saw it. You got the minutes and show who was there?
We can show
We're missing members. We're missing
It's inaccurate.
members now.
What you're saying.
Just be careful,
No.
Harvey, because I know you weren't here, but
Okay.
there was 1 village and 2 town that were missing.
Yeah. And Harvey, there's been no publication of what the
And we
rate
haven't
increase is.
increased any rates.
And because we don't know we're still working on getting the one of the things we're going
So-
back and
Well,
forth in
well,
is getting our head around the
Your comments
financials.
are misleading.
There has to be a way of encouraging people to come. They don't have to be here physically. You could be on the phone. You could do it too. You don't. So there's very little excuse for people who are getting paid these very large stipends, in my opinion, for not participating in the meetings. I think it's
Harvey, just so
unconscionable.
you understand, open meeting law does not allow a commissioner to participate and vote. They can certainly listen, but they can also watch it on the live stream. But the only time that was allowed was during COVID, and that was released. You can't do that.
Who's
These are
the
our
gentleman on the phone
these are
is participating,
engineers.
right?
Our engineers.
They're not voting members,
Right.
they're our consultants.
And to your credit, Chairwoman, we have had times in the past where members phoned in when they couldn't make it, and they didn't vote, they phoned in, so they were participating.
They could participate in the conversation,
Absolutely.
but.
My point, with all due respect, you're missing the point. Members are being compensated to participate in a meeting. If whether they're legally allowed to vote, it's a separate issue. But they're getting paid for approximately $500 to come once a month. And I think that the people that are having the water bills, the taxpayers, whatever you want to call them, are entitled to have them, be accountable. There was.
Sometimes there are excused
Okay,
absences.
I don't know what the status is now, but I noticed that Mr. McCarthy is here, and when I spoke to your attorney in December, there was an alternate. It was Mr. Schmidt, Mr. DeRosa, and then Mr. McCarthy was an alternate. Are there provisions to help to alleviate what I consider a disparity to appoint somebody for Mr. DeRosa's absence?
So currently, the town has 2 seats plus an alternate. As of January 1st, I still don't know, and those are at the discretion of the town supervisor as to who are the 2 voting seats and who the alternate is.
Correct.
The town has not disclosed to
haven't.
us at this point
Yes.
as to who those people are, except that the supervisor's
Yeah.
here.
So far, we haven't added
Right.
that extra seat
So-
because of our ongoing negotiations and
So
conversations.
the IMA currently, that we changed last summer, allows for 2 voting seats from the town with an alternate, so that they always have those 2 voting seats.
So
Okay,
right
so-
now, you're actually seeing a savings because it's budgeted, but we're not actually taking that salary for that other seat, which the sewer commission is now, the users are saving on that because, and the reason we've done that is because we have ongoing negotiations. That's why we didn't put that other seat in.
Now, that makes sense, because we're saving $500 a meeting approximately, give or take, to round it out. So that's a good reason not to appoint someone, because you're in the process now of updating the IMA.
Correct.
I would hope.
Working on it.
We're working on it.
Okay? Now, is there any comment to think about my suggestion that some of the questions that people have, because there's like everybody to dismiss it out of hand, that there isn't a us versus them going on, is to be blind, totally blind. And the way to alleviate that is to have maybe the chairperson or somebody from the commission to appear before the town board. And then it's not going to be an us versus them, but you'll have why are you looking so questioning?
Because the town sits on the commission, so I'm a little confused as to why you would be.
Their representative is here to advise their board on the workings of the commission and
And
what's
anybody
happening.
that has a question regarding
but-
the sewer commission comes to the meeting.
But you just made an allegation that an interpretation of what went on, that's subjective, was going on, and so you were outright saying we're not coming to the town. You're just making this. You see this guy scratching his head. I'm just the guy that's here, and there's another scratching his head.
Chairman, do you mind if I answer? Chairman?
You're saying, you're telling me it would not be helpful for a representative of the sewer commission to come before the town board and answer questions?
Harvey, could I just say, I think when the us versus them term has been used here tonight is unfair, only because.
I agree with you.
This is a
I
negotiation.
agree it's unfair.
This is a negotiation, but what I say is.
But that's.
But the reality is, listen, myself and Councilman McCarthy and Councilman Migan and Councilwoman Snow and Councilwoman Pitter's not here tonight, but the reality is, it's our job to represent the town, just like it's your job to represent the village. So you can say us versus them, that's just an ugly way of saying it, but it is the way it's supposed to be. We're just supposed to get to the end result, which we're hoping all to get to eventually.
Well-
It's, you know, we're supposed to negotiate in the best interest of the town residents, and you're supposed to represent the best interest of the village, which is what we're doing, so, but that's a negotiation.
Yeah.
And we probably wish we were already at the finish line, but I believe we're gonna get back to the table and get that going again. So I think us versus them is just a really controversial way of saying it, but that's the way negotiation is. That's what it is.
Of course,
I think
it's
you-
like, you're
Both
absolutely
sides
right.
come together.
That's what it's supposed to
If I
be.
may,
But
too,
we're
you
only
used-
hearing one
Okay.
side at the town,
But-
at the town
But
board
you,
meetings.
you
You just
used,
heard theirs.
you used an appropriate word when you started your remarks, which I appreciate, which was that I think that comment was, and I believe that the town board members have chimed in on that as well. It was more about the tenor
Yes.
of the conversations and the perception that might give. But the truth is that right now, that because these negotiations are ongoing and because key provisions of a potential new IMA, and there's been a lot of work done on it, so I don't, believe me, there's been a lot of work in good faith done on both sides. But there's not enough to report, there'd be nothing to report on anyway. But I do want to reiterate, these are public meetings here, as you well know, because you've commented many times here. The town board meetings are public meetings, the IMA document, the current IMA document is a public document. So there's no attempt to obfuscate anything here, and right now, those negotiations are still, they are ongoing. There's nothing yet to report. And it frankly, I think would be counterproductive to present to either municipal entity these midpoint discussions of places where we've had some discussions but haven't come to conclusions yet.
So you don't think it would be of any value to at least put the issues before the town board? And
Thank you, Harvey. We'll take that.
and the 500 to 600 people that every, that your list, that.
Thank you, Harvey.
We'll
We'll take it
consider
under
it,
consideration.
Harvey.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's
Yep.
go Mets.
All right.
4 days.
Pitchers
and catchers.
for 4 days?
It's amazing. And all that ever does is remind me how cold
I mean, I would take notice
When
of,
pitchers and
I
catchers
would
come
take
in.
notice of 1, 2, 3, 4 town board members in attendance at this meeting. So this will give you an idea of what's going on in the town board, okay?
I think it
Thank you,
shows
Harvey.
And the
level
notes.
of involvement. It's a
All
good
right,
thing.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Do you accept stupid questions? Can I ask one?
Sure.
Okay, so a number of years ago, and I can't say when, it might have been the nineties,
I don't
you know,
know.
the mid-nineties it could have been.
Okay.
There was some talk about dissolving the village and having the town and village be one to save money, it was too small. Does anyone remember any of this?
Oh,
This
sure.
was- this was
Okay,
3 years,
so-
3 years.
It was
3 years
Is
ago.
that like the
And there was a
root,
big
is that
study
like the
done.
root of this whole problem I seem to see here?
No.
No, it has nothing to do with it?
No.
So everybody's functioning well, the town and the village, everything's operational?
We function our own
So
houses, I guess.
what's the problem? Like, why is all this animosity in the room? I don't understand. No answer?
I think it's a
just
negotiation of an
negotiation.
intermunicipal agreement, right? So
It's just money,
If I can comment, if you go back and look on our YouTube channel for the Village of Pawling, and look at the prior commission meetings, there's no problems.
Yeah,
There's been no issues.
yeah.
We get along, we vote,
Right.
we do for the best, what's best for the sewer users.
And the
really, go
previous-
back and look at some of those meetings.
The previous
There's no-
amendments that were made, that were alluded to tonight regarding the board membership, were also done, in negotiation with the town and the village. They were done with the commission's consultants
Yeah,
working
yeah, I've
together to do
been-
that. So I think there is a history of being able to get through these things.
Sure.
And
That's what I've always thought. So it seems, so what's different now?
I think just some issues that
Probably
the
COVID,
two parties feel.
COVID messed everything up? Is that what-
strongly-
No, it was a-
I'm joking. All right.
All right.
So, all right, thanks for listening to my question.
Right. Thank you.
You just say, so they know who's speaking.
Sure.
Sorry, I
Marty
forgot to
Mangan.
ask you your name.
Marty
We should be
Mangan
identifying
from,
each other.
I live in Cedar Valley, so I'm part of the sewer, one of the sewer districts. How long have you had RBT? Was that the correct name, RBT?
RBT is our accountant, and
Long
we've had
time.
them a long time.
I mean, is it the same every year where they're
Yes,
way?
yes.
Okay. I mean, as a user, and as somebody who pays into to the sewer, I would like it if, I felt like the finances were more, you guys had more of a handle on it.
We do have a handle on it.
Yeah.
What the issue is trying to determine, what started this was asking what's the fund balance right now?
That's important.
It's super important.
Yeah.
You can't get a number
Until
because
we got
bills
the
are
whole
still being
year.
paid, so you can't get the number until the full year is done. So we
Okay.
still have to wait until another 2 months from now to get that final number. So we
Which
didn't-
is slow.
Yeah, is that the norm for them?
It seems to be, and that's
Well-
why we want to explore working with a new accountant.
Well-
I'm fairly new to being the chair, so I'm trying to,
What do we
You know.
pay them to do? Like, do they handle everything, or do you guys keep your books and then you send it over to them and they,
yes, we keep our books and send it over to them.
okay.
That's what our
And-
one and only staff person does,
Okay.
Christine.
Yeah. And just to be fair,
Yeah.
I think any accountant will tell you, Christine, your accountant for the town will tell you this, has she given you a fund balance yet for the town? Probably
You know, I'm
not.
not 100% sure
I would
on
think
that.
not, because it takes, there's still money going out and money
Yeah.
coming in.
Yeah.
So it's like a 3-month
Lag.
lag before they can give you the final number.
Where they give you the final
And
balance
you
for.
can look at previous years and you can
Right.
guesstimate.
And that's what we're doing, to try to, see where we started off 3 years ago and where we are now.
I mean, like I say, as a user, again, that pays into it.
Has there ever been a
Excuse
certified
me.
auditor?
Harvey,
Excuse me.
Okay, thank you, Harvey.
Okay.
I know it seems necessary right now to pay an extra $57.75 to another firm but
Regrettably.
it's not something that I am happy about.
No, I don't think anybody is.
No.
In addition, there was talk about who has more flow in the sewer system. Like, I don't know that that's important to people that pay into it. I wouldn't wanna see more than a 5-person board, just financially. I think you can do it with a 5-person board easily. And to say, well, I'm gonna have more flow in the future, and we'll think about adding people. Adding people to me is not the way to go about it. There's no reason, even if it's $10,000, $11,000, there's no reason to have 7 people on a board like this, that's managing this kind of money. Just my opinion as a user.
Yeah.
And I think you can do it. And I don't care basically who controls what. I'm looking at, I'm looking at the people of Pawling who use the sewer, and they don't wanna see their bills escalate. Why would you need to have 2 extra people? I mean, I don't even know if you could do it with a 3-person board, that might be crazy. But there's no reason, just because you wanna have everybody on the board, that you have to keep continually adding people, it's just more expense. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? All right, have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks.